Other questions from the audience? Go ahead, right here in front.
First of all, thanks for coming, guys. It's a privilege to ask all you same question. Kind of get you guys. I just started a new web startup. I'm a recent Leeds grad, and it's like a bunch of business kids who are running this program. However, we need like a head programmer with like leadership skills and really can fit in with our team. And we're struggling finding an individual who's like young and with our team but has all the experience. So maybe if you guys could touch on the importance of like programmers, web developers, to the web startup organization, and how I can like go search for that guy.
I used to work for a guy at MCI. Is a guy named Bob Hartchark, and he, if you go way back in the 70s, he ran TimeNet and the old X25 network. He was a real interesting guy, and he said to me one time, I made more money off of smart guys than anybody else. And he was talking about smart technical guys, and it's my advice would be don't choose too quickly and find the right guy, person. And there are a lot of folks out there that fit the bill. In fact, come and talk to me afterwards. I have somebody specifically in mind.
In my thoughts, we've had difficulties finding folks that would be generally described as head of software development or even CTOs at our past companies. It is a very difficult position to fill because you have to essentially have the credibility of being a great programmer and being a mentor to those folks that run into problems, but also have great team building skills, which I think is the large deficit when you're in that situation. You find people more likely to have great experience in coding, but not necessarily in bringing together and getting the best out of a team. And if I were you, my recommendation is to make sure that you really vet that strongly, that you look at the teamwork attributes of the person as you're hiring them.
If Jack's guy doesn't pan out, let me know, because I know a couple of folks on his team that could do a bang-up job.
And it starts.
Other questions? Yes, way in back.
I got a question maybe specifically for Grant. Someone in a young company looking to approach a VC and what their motivations may be, what would you recommend how they plan for, find venture capital, and approach it with beyond just having a unrivaled enthusiasm and great business plan? What do you suggest beyond that?
Yeah, let me tell you what helped me. Firstly, I think you can never be sufficiently prepared, and I mean not just in what you're going to go and articulate and therefore ask for, but prepared in your own fortitude for your idea. And I often feel that most of the private equity folks that I have dealt with and continue to deal with are mostly testing my fortitude for my business plan and my commitment to seeing it through, because there will be good days, but there will be some very tough days, and those will continue until you hopefully have a gracious exit. So I would soul search pretty deeply on your own fortitude to your idea. We all have lots of good ideas, but not all of those are we truly prepared to commit to, and I'm talking about years and years of your own time, and quite frankly, probably a significant portion of your own financial situation. So I would say establish your fortitude very, very solidly, and don't overwhelm it just with passion, because it's very hard to take passion to the bank and pay bills. But it's important. Beyond that, I think in terms of how you court and your nurturing of that possible funding community, what was most helpful to me was advocacy and from the people that knew me best and had dealt with a number of potential funding sources. I'll be very candid. Dan helped me get a fast start with my investors because I had known Dan for a long time. I had worked for him. I have some scars from that, good, bad, or indifferent. But he was able to advocate at least the fact that I am a capable individual, hopefully with a sufficiently large brain and enough drive to at least get through the door. And I think it's crucial that you start with your network first, those people who can stand up for you and at least advocate your capability. And to the extent you don't have that, then I think you should be very disciplined in going and courting money, because there are very specific venture or PE firms that orient around specific industries, and those people are probably going to help you the most. It's not an accident that some folks at this table have even same investors, because they're focused on a specific industry, a specific portion of that industry. Telecom infrastructure runs very deep on this panel, and some of the investors, that's all they do. So I'd look, firstly, I'd establish your own personal fortitude with great honesty. Secondly, I'd look to your own network of people that can help you sift through all of the smart money that's out there and pick the money that you think you're going to court that is best suited towards you. And I would court the money that is best suited towards the area in which you're trying to build your business.
Other questions? Yes, go ahead.
How would entrepreneurism be affected by the regulatory aspects of telecom?
Regulatory is a big part of telecom. What's worked best for me is to avoid areas of telecom that have high regulation, because it's unpredictable, it's hard to get a business going that is more entrepreneurial, more startup if there's a regulatory kind of risk associated with it. The companies who deal best on the regulatory front are the most established telecoms. I mean, they're the ones who've learned it over the years and have the money and the fortitude and longevity to deal with the regulated, and even take advantage of regulated issues. But it's something to be very aware of. No question about it.
There are a lot of businesses, in the last 10 years that were started around the specific regulatory arbitrage that didn't turn out so well, because that rule or set of rules changed for whatever reason, and those businesses tend to implode in spectacular ways. So I'm kind of with Dan that building a business around a specific arbitrage is probably not a great plan.
Get your money out while you can if you're doing that.
I'll just throw in too, though. I don't think regulatory will kill a business opportunity if it's well thought out and you have a unique position and opportunity ahead of you. I'll go back to my comment about starting up the internet business for US West back in the day. I mean, literally it was perceived as a long distance business, and the phone company was a local business. And so at the face of it, you would say, well, you can't offer internet service, right, as the phone company. But understanding what the regulatory environment was, what the legal aspects were, we worked around it. And so you still had an opportunity to go get that business, to be focused on what you could do to grow that business. You just have certain parameters at times, right?
So being in a regulated business, you just need to understand what the reg business is and what unreg is. And so that's kind of the way we look at it as a large corporation. There's a lot more opportunities, obviously, in the unregulated areas. And then to Dan's point, as far as what has to take place out in DC, there's a lot of activity. There's a whole consortium of telecommunications companies that are working towards similar issues. And so it's probably not the place where you want to shop from a startup or entrepreneurial perspective.